Okay, you ready?
Is that better?
Yes, this is perfect. Okay, well,
That's
listen,
funny.
this is what I had done. I had asked a couple of people if they had any questions that they want to ask you. And so I'm just going to go ahead and get into the questions. And then you can feel, you feel free if you want to answer them. Yes or no.
Okay.
Okay? All right, listen. So the first question was, or this is my question basically, just to show people what the difference that you have experienced in communicating with women in the U.S. and women outside of the U.S. So the
Yeah.
first question would be, what was the main difference interacting with women in the U.S. and with me, someone from outside of the U.S. when we first met?
Woo. Well, I would say the main difference would have to be just basically appreciating just being around me, not expecting me to be something that I'm not, accepting me for who I am.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, that was the biggest difference. Just basically being excited to see me,
Right.
and things like that. So that was the biggest difference.
Right. And that is something that I was trying to tell people in one of my posts, like when you are really into American men, you're just going to appreciate seeing them, being able to spend time with them. You don't expect anything from them. And
Yeah.
sometimes it's kind of hard for people to believe that. But, you and I, as an example, that's how it really was. I saw you and I'm like, okay, wait a minute. This is the guy that I'm most definitely going to marry. And
Yeah.
that was it. Like, that was all I needed. Like, you were so much of an excitement to me. Okay, so the next question would be, what do you think is the reason for the dysfunction in America between some women and some men?
Well, from my experience, it has to do with the matriarchy, especially me being as a black man and raised in a matriarchal structure. It can be very, very destructive for a man coming up without any masculine guidance and being taught by a man how to interact with women as opposed to being taught by women how to interact with other women, because it just doesn't work out that way for men. That's why a lot of relationships as far as with men and women end up disasters, because the man is being taught by women to interact with other women, and that just never works out. You have to be taught by a man, a masculine man who respects himself, who's logical, so he can teach you how to deal with women. Because if you're raised in a matriarchal dysfunctional structure, then it's going to be disastrous when you try to interact with women.
So you're basically saying when you have a single mother raising a son, and I know a lot of women are saying, single mothers are saying, I have to be the father and the mother. And I'm not judging any single mothers here, right? So you're saying it is impossible for that mother to actually play the father's role as well. She doesn't know how
impossible.
it is.
That is absolutely impossible. It's not realistic. It's really La La Land. It's Disney World, because that masculine energy, that manly figure, that logical understanding, it's not there, because women are more emotional than men. So
Absolutely.
when you have a young man, coming from a boy being raised into a teenager, from a young adult into his mid-20s and further, he's going to be more emotional. He's going to conduct himself in an emotional way, because he was never taught to figure things out logically. That's just basically to remove your emotions, figure things out in a logical manner. So yeah, it doesn't work out. Masculine, logical figures are most definitely needed within the community, or whatever, our community, or whatever community you want to talk about. Because without the man in the house, the results is disastrous. And you could just look at my community; it speaks for itself.
Right. I understand. Okay. Thank you. The next question would be, did you ever regret leaving the U.S. to be with a woman from another country? Like, I know you had to make like a big decision before you actually left the USA to come live here in Germany.
No, I don't regret anything, because basically I was being accepted for who I was at the time. I knew I was getting myself into a situation with somebody who has accepted me for me at that point in my life. And now that I look back at it in retrospect, I see myself as basically a diamond covered in dirt. And as far as you, took me and you helped me wipe the dirt off of myself to expose the diamond instead of, you know, waiting for me to get to the finish line. Then you're at the finish line waiting for me when you basically, you came with me through the struggle for me to be a better man and becoming a better man. So, yeah,
and I think it takes two. I mean, I helped you, you know, seeing your potential and you becoming a better man. And so did you help me seeing my potential numerous times when you told me that I can do better, you know, that I can be better and help me become the woman that I am today. So I think it goes both ways, most definitely. And I'm most definitely thankful for that.
Yes.
Okay, let's move on to the next question. What is the overall vibe as a Black American man here in Germany or Europe that you get from other women?
You mean as opposed to in America?
Yes.
Yes. Well, the one difference that I've noticed is that I would say you're treated according to your SMV, if people know what that means.
What is SMV? Can you just explain real quick?
It means sexual marketplace value, whatever your value is on a sexual marketplace. Basically, if you're ugly, average, or nice looking, you know what I mean? They treat you according to that. It's not just, oh, I see a handsome man, but since I'm a female, I can treat him a certain way, even though he handsome or even he may look better than me. From my experience in Europe, it's not like that. They appreciate you for your sexual marketplace value. They would treat you according to your sexual marketplace value, as opposed to them thinking they're doing you a favor just because they're giving you the time of day or they're talking to you or something like that. That's one of the biggest differences.
Right. Okay. All right. So this question, somebody asked us actually. Why are men not interested in a woman's career or in her degree?
Well, from my experience, the money you make in your career doesn't add value to you being a wife. You know, your career, whatever you do, has nothing to do with you being a wife. A wife has to be supportive of her husband and support him in his lead of the family, because the man is the natural leader of the family. This is not my opinion. This is how nature has intended it to be. Whether if you call it God, nature, whatever you believe, this is how it's intended. The man is the natural leader. So as a wife, I mean, it's even in the Bible, and I'm not even religious. A woman has to support a man so he can lead the family. Have a good family structure, he'll lead the family structure. Now, as far as the career and her making money, that's literally irrelevant, because if that career and that money is not going towards bettering that man and helping him lead the family, then it's absolutely useless. And it doesn't increase as far as the women's sexual marketplace value, because from my experience, and I always ask the question, okay, if you had a woman who was average and she pulled up in a Honda, no, if you had a woman who was a 9 in the face and she pulled up in a Honda, and then you had a woman who was, let's say, a 6 or a 5 average, and she pulled up in a Benz, you can ask any man, who you going to ride out with? He's going to ride out with the chick in a Honda, because she's a 9 in the face. Yeah. Right. So we don't care. I mean, we don't care about your money. That doesn't impress us, man. We really don't care. And any man who tells you, oh, we care and all that, no, he's simping. He's simping.
He's a simp, yeah.
he's simping big time.
He wants to be taken care of.
Yeah. He's simping, man. You know what I mean? Even that, from my experience, I found myself, I've had experiences back in the day where this woman was trying to impress me. Oh, I got a car, I got this and that. And in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, yo, I don't care, man. You know what I mean? I don't care. Right. And I didn't care. You know what I mean? So
it's basically a lost cause when you have a woman trying to impress a man with her degree, her PhD, and her career and all the money that she has.
Yeah. Well.
Let me just answer this question. Somebody's asking, is he from Philadelphia?
Yes, I'm from Philly.
He is. Proudly from Philly.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Then Kenny asked this question. What was your experience starting a life in Germany and not being in the military? Because, you know, I think a lot of soldiers here who are stationed here get a lot of benefits and help starting a life here. How was it for you? not having any ties to the military?
Well, quite frankly, I traveled to Europe because of an offer from you and my love for you, and you know, it had nothing to do with Uncle Sam. So
Right.
I can't really look at it from that perspective. I really don't have much to say about it because that's not my experience. You know, I'm not in the military. I was never in the military, and my travels had nothing to do with the government funding my travels. So I can't really speak to that. You know, I can't really speak to that. It's just not my experience.
Not your experience. Okay. All right. Then somebody, let me just get this question right here. Okay, somebody asked this question. How often do you have haters responding to you telling the truth? I think this question is directed to me because I'm the one that speaks a lot more on here than you. It happens a lot in like direct messages or even under my post, but at the end of the day, I really don't care what haters or people who don't like my message have to say, because I know I'm telling the truth. I mean, me and my husband, we can show that we have a somewhat, most definitely functioning marriage and relationship. It has, of course, its ups and downs, but that's normal. Like, you cannot believe any relationship that's here on social media and everybody's pretending everything is perfect, because it's not. And I told some other girl the last time on a direct message, like, you have a down in a relationship, but the up is incredible. So, and you also reach another level depending on what kind of troubles you go through in a relationship. So anybody that's out there telling you my relationship is perfect, we don't have any problems, look, they're liars. And yes,
that's a lie.
Yeah, the truth hurts. And I know a lot of people feel some type of way about what I have to say, but I know I live my truth. I'm here to support my husband and everybody else who's willing to learn and be a better wife or even a better husband to their partner. You know, that's what I think about it. Okay, next question. Do you feel like social media plays a big part in people's relationship? What do you think about it?
Say that again?
Do you feel like social media plays a big part in people's relationship?
I mean, now it does. I mean, I was raised in the 90s, so at that time there was no social media. But now, yes, social media plays a huge part in relationships, and overall, I think it's detrimental to the health of the relationship that men and women have with one another, because you have this imbalance, which basically social media favors the woman. It doesn't favor the man, because you can have an average woman, she gets on social media, she's the bomb. You have an average man, he's a nobody. So, you know, it's an imbalance, man. And that imbalance can only be fixed if people get off social media, get back into the real world, and start taking walks through parks, going to have a coffee and things like that, and stop staring at the phone, because I know a world without the cell phone. So I can most definitely speak to that. So social media, it's most definitely a negative. And in my opinion, it's destroying chicks, man. I mean, it's destroying chicks, man, for real.
What do you think is the worst part when you say it's destroying chicks? Why are you saying this?
Why? Well, let's just say it like this. A man picks up his cell phone and he points it at the world. A woman picks up the cell phone and she points it at herself. So basically, it's giving her an overinflated value of her true value on the sexual marketplace. Because when I was growing up, the women in my neighborhood only had access to us, people within the vicinity or whatever. Whether she worked a small little job, she went to school, she came back to the neighborhood, that was the only men she's seen. Now, you know, you put an average chick on the net, you know, she turned around, she showed her body. Now she's attracting everybody from all over the world. She have all these thousands of people who's following her, and that's giving her an overinflated basically sense of her true value. It's basically feeding her ego. And that is destructive, because then she thinks, oh, well, I'm getting all this attention, which, you know, women love attention. And no, it's a lie. You know, you're not that valuable. You know what I mean? And it's just a shame, because it's delusional. And then she goes out and tries to interact with the man and thinking, okay, this man qualifies for me. This man is on my level. She doesn't think that, because she has more followers. She's getting more attention because of technology, because of social media. And in the end, the average man loses. He loses. You know, I can't I can't shake my butt on Instagram and do all that and get all these followers and everything. It don't work like that for men. I can't show my penis. I can't have an outline of my penis on Instagram. Don't say that.
They shut my account down. No curse words.
Oh, penis is not a curse word.
Oh, you know what I mean.
Well, you know. Anyway, I can't have an outline of that and walk and basically show myself on social media and get a lot of attention. That's the imbalance.
Right.
That's the imbalance.
Right.
And I think it's corny.
Yeah, it is. So what do you think about all the men who are actually supporting these Instagram baddies, the OnlyFans women? What do you think about these men? Because women like that cannot be successful and they cannot feel more than who they actually are if it wasn't for these men. What do you think about them?
These dudes are simps.
Absolutely.
They're simps, man. I mean, it is what it is, man. I mean, they're the type of guys who basically, I guess, walk off a cliff for a woman. They basically see the woman as being more valuable than them. They be like, oh my God, I have to put her on a pedestal and I have to treat her that way. So that's all that is, man. And these dudes are straight simps, and they are another problem to the sexual marketplace. They're adding to the imbalance because they're feeding the egos. Yeah. They're like, oh baby, you look so good and blah blah blah. Man, it's funny, man. It's really hilarious and it's clownish once your eyes is open and you can see it for what it really is.
Right, right. Well, thank you for that insight, most definitely. Another question is, this one's for you. How many foreign women did your husband date before you?
Foreign women?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, that's a good question. Well,
how many was it, Mark?
How many? Well, I'm not going to sit up there and give the exact number, but let's just say.
What's your body count?
Nah, I'm not putting that information out there. But as far as foreign women, it seems like foreign women has always, been kind of drawn to me, whether they were from Africa or Central America. That was not
the question, honey. That was not the question. It was how many women. He's in trouble. You're damn right. Thank you for sending me the right questions. How many?
How many? I'm not going to answer that question. Let's say it was quite a few.
He's not answering?
Yeah.
All right. We're going to have a chit chat after this one. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
All right. Yo, thank you for sending me this question. He most definitely is in trouble. Just kidding.
Okay.
All right. Next question. What makes the women different from American women? How is their hygiene? Like, what does it say? No. What makes foreign women different from American women? How is their hygiene? That was the question.
I would say their hygiene. Well, from my experience, I think the hygiene is a little better. I mean, I'm just being honest because I lived over in Europe for almost 15 years of my life, and the hygiene standards is it seems like us Americans are a little on the dirty side, man. We need to clean ourselves up a little bit compared to the Europeans. I'm just being honest, man.
Yeah. I hear that. Okay. What do you think about fake lashes, fake nails, fake hair, fake body parts? What do you think of that?
I think it's clown world, man. I think it's Disneyland. I think it's yellow brick road status. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because again, you have an overinflated perspective of your true value. I mean, you wake up in the morning, you put on some fake lashes, you change your appearance, fake hair, fake nails, makeup, whatever. You don't look like that. Mm-hmm. That's not you, man. You know what I mean? That's not you. So what do I think about it? I think it's a fraud, and I think it's overall counterproductive because if you have women out there who can transform themselves from 6s to 7s and 8s, and they're a 6, and then when a guy who's a 6 comes along, oh, she's gonna diss him because she spent a couple of minutes in the mirror basically working her witchcraft. It's not a cool thing. I think it's a joke, and it looks stupid, man. I mean, come on, man. It's just dumb. Like, this is how I look. This is how I wake up. This is who I am. You know what I mean? I can't go to the store and buy a pack of muscles. I can't go to the store and buy a pack of and pull a Benz out of a box and you know what I mean, pull out some money out of a box, and then I can't do none of that. We don't have that luxury. You know what I mean? So it's to me overall it's clownish, and I think less is better. Less is most definitely better. Let me see what I'm getting myself into.
Mm-hmm. I heard that. Like, yeah. I even had to admit, like, one day, I woke up, I'm looking at you and I'm like, oh my God, you waking up just looking perfect. You know, I have to go into the bathroom, curl my lashes, and your lashes are already curly. You know, I'm shaping my eyebrows for them to look a certain way, and your eyebrows are already perfect. You know what I mean? People are getting lip fillers and all of that to have these plump lips and everything. You already have all of that. You know, that's just a blessing for you. So it is what it is. I guess you guys are on the lucky side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, my whole argument about that is that don't change your appearance and then act like you are that person who you change yourself into. That's not you. You know, that is not you. You are who you are, fresh face out the shower. That's how you should be judged. Who are you, fresh face out the shower, without no weight, no weave, no makeup, none of that? Who are you? That's how you should conduct yourself, and that's how you should carry yourself. Who you are, fresh face out the shower. Because that magic trick, that witchcraft that you work in the bathroom, that's not it, sweetie.
Okay. I hear that. Okay. I already know that you never like makeup, so I guess it is what it is. All right, what else? I have another question written down, which is, somebody wanted to know, how did y'all meet?
How did we meet? Well, let's say my wife was on an unauthorized vacation in the States, and that's how we met. Unauthorized vacation in the States.
Now, I'd say we met through a mutual friend. So it was not a dating app, because a lot of people ask me, what kind of app did you use in order for you guys to meet? Because, you know, you left the country, came over here, so it was not a app. It was nothing like that. It was basically through actual communication amongst people. That's what it was. Yeah. And then another question, what advice can you give to women in the U.S. concerning interacting with men?
With men? Oh, that's an easy one. Treat your husband like you would treat your boss on a job. Give him the same respect. That's basically what it is. It's a respect thing, man. Because men, respect is really big when it comes to men.
Right.
Yeah, it's that simple. Give him the same respect you're going to give your boss on a job. If you can't do that,
why do you think women don't have this respect for men?
Oh man, that's a loaded question. Well, basically, I can only speak from basically what goes on. Unfortunately, in my community, you had the government come in, and in the 60s and 70s, and basically paid women not to have the man in the house. Look, you want these welfare checks? That man can't be in the crib. So that's where it all comes down to. That's where a lot of it originated. That's where the disrespect came in. Like, okay, I don't need you. I have daddy government who's going to take care of everything.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that's, and it's even in the movie. I forgot the name of the movie. You know what I mean? My man, he was in the crib, and then the daughter went to the mom like, yeah, mommy, the social workers here. My man had to hide in the closet because they would have took away her benefits if they would have caught the man in the crib. So it's a perfect way of getting control over the women and over the children and taking the authority figure out the house, which is the man. Yeah, it's that right there. It has a lot to do with that, man. And then feeding this, then giving women this idea that, oh, I'm strong and I'm independent. I'm strong and I'm independent and I don't need no man. No, you need a man. You need a man.
So you don't think it's the right thing for a woman to say, like, look, I'm strong, I'm independent, I don't need a man for nothing. I got my job, I got my career, I'm taking care of everything myself. You don't think that's a valid statement?
No, it's not a valid statement, because if you go through history, history tells us something different. See, what people have to remember is all this women in the workplace. The only reason why women is allowed in the workplace is because the powers that be over 100 years ago wanted more tax money.
Right.
Do your research.
Right.
That's the only reason why. They wanted you to come out the crib so you could pay more, so you could pay taxes. And then they wanted to take the children and put them in an indoctrination camp, which is public schools. That's history.
I mean, it still goes on today. You have so many parents.
It still goes on today. Yes. That's the only reason why you're working. That's the only reason why you got careers. And you know, there's nothing wrong with that. I say, if you're going to have a career, you're going to do this, just know it comes with consequences. Because if you have a man who respects himself and does well for himself, he's not going to give a rat's ass what you do, because that's not your value. A woman's value, a man values a woman's beauty. not their career. I don't give a rat's ass how much money you make. You can be rich, I can be poor, but if you ugly, I don't want you.
Mm-hmm. It's that simple.
Yeah. It's that simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually not even that hard.
Yeah. And unfortunately, man, it's the results has been catastrophic, man. And all you have to do is take the time and do a little research.
Mm-hmm.
And this strong and independent thing, it's only been going on for what, about 40 years. And as far as the master plan to get women out of the house has been going on ever since, I would say, the early 20th century.
Right.
So it's been a plan by the powers that be, and they executed it well, especially within my community. I mean, it's in shambles. It's absolutely destroyed. You know what I mean? I'm not going to sit here and pull any punches, and it's because the man is not at the head of the household. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
It is a sickness. Somebody says it's a sickness. It truly is.
Yeah.
And the essence of a woman lies in her femininity. Yes. Why do you think this is the reason that a lot of women are less and less feminine?
Why? Well, if a woman is going to go out there and have a career and go to work, that's where men belong. So she's competing against men. She's out there competing against men, which she's going to have to take on a lot of masculine traits to compete in a men's working place. So that's where a lot of the masculinity comes from within these women, because they think, oh, I'm out here working and blah, blah, blah. Well, okay, you're going to have to deal with the consequences that come along with that, because, like I said, ain't no decent man who respects himself, who does for himself. He's not going to care. He's not going to care
about a woman's career.
No, he's not going to care.
There.
No.
Right.
Because even me, at my lowest point in my life, I didn't care. Yeah.
That's true.
That's
true. So was that?
And it took, basically took people within this space, the manosphere, whatever you want to call it, people in this space to make me realize that. Like, it happened, but they was like, yeah, that's what happened. I'm thinking like, yo, you're absolutely right. I didn't care, which is the reason why I chose you.
That's the reason why. Why what? You chose me.
Which is the reason why I chose you. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I get it. Well, yeah, I also feel as though that the career really doesn't matter when it comes to a relationship, because the more of a career woman that you are, the less submissive of a wife you're going to be, because you're not going to have no man tell you to do something or follow any instructions when you are at the job telling all these men what to do.
Yeah.
You know, nobody's going to do that. I find it hard to believe, and even in my environment, I don't see that happen.
Yeah.
Somebody says power couple and gives us a heart. Thank you so much for the love, but I know you hate the term power couple. You don't like that term, do you?
No, I don't like the term power couple.
Explain why. Because I know there are a lot of couples out there who feel as though that they are a power couple. I honestly don't even know what that's supposed to mean. But why don't you like that?
Well, I would say it's a social construct. Power couple. It's a social construct. And for me, I mean, yes, we can be a good couple. You know, you can help me, I can help you. But let's not go against what nature has intended. That's my whole argument. You know what I mean? Men are supposed to lead, women are supposed to follow. That's what nature has intended.
Right.
Yes.
Right. I know, in a lot of cases, unfortunately, that doesn't even happen anymore. Yeah. That's how the system works. You know, because the more you have women out there who scream out that they are just as strong as men, the more conflicts you're going to have. Because whatever you just said, that the natural roles that the man is leading and the woman is following, none of that is happening like that anymore. People feel as though that's not normal. I even heard somebody saying that's oppression of a woman.
Well, it's really not oppression. Let me just say this. I'm not saying that men are better than women or women are better than men. It's not like that. It's just that we have our roles as a species. Women are supposed to be caring and nurturing. The men are supposed to lead and build. That's it. Nobody is better than, like, I'm not better than a woman. A woman is not better than me. I don't see men as being more valuable. I don't see women as being more valuable. When you get your roles confused, you're going to have chaos. You know what I'm saying? They're saying, oh, men are useless, men is that. Come on, man. Look, men built the cell phones that we're using. Men came up with the ideas. Men built the world. Okay?
That is true.
We built the world. We're out there doing the hard jobs. We're out there in the sewers. You know what I mean? We're making the world go around. Okay? And then when you have a delusional woman saying, well, I'm not going to acknowledge that because I have this phone and I'm pointing it towards myself, you get a disastrous outcome.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We see it today.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
So here's a question. As a woman, how do you stay submissive as a wife when you have a progressive career? I believe it has something to do with respect, respecting your husband, respecting his role, knowing your role as a woman in a relationship. I mean, I work full time. I work amongst a lot of engineers. And at the end of the day, I know that I respect my husband on a different level. You know what I mean? So it's not like that I was trying to explain earlier that I come home and I try to tell him what to do. And honestly, we're even finding our roles now as we speak. Because you have relationships, you have to develop constantly. A relationship, especially a marriage, is a constant process. You have to learn each day, and you have to make progress together. And I think the problem is when we are having a conflict or whatever, we sit down. Yes, I do get emotional, and he stays objective. That's the good thing. And then it gives me my time to calm down, and then we sit down and we talk about it. You know, he doesn't get emotional. I do, but then we just wait. In a lot of cases, unfortunately, you have both parties getting emotional. That's when the arguments just, you know, go out of hand, and then people just break up. You can't let that happen, especially not when you have a somewhat of a marriage that's been going on for such a long time. It's been 14 years now, and that's crazy. That's a crazy long time, you know. So who would want to just throw that away because of some indifferences? Is that a word?
Differences. Just say differences, not indifferences. Differences.
Differences. Yeah. So that was that question. Let me see if there are any more questions. Are you Muslim? Yes, I am. All that strength is going to have most women lonely. Yes. So why do you think there are a lot of single ladies in America, or all over the world, actually? Why are there so many single people?
Well, as far as I can only speak for what's going on in the States because it's more prevalent here. It's basically ubiquitous, as I'm going to say across my community. It's ubiquitous. You know, you spend your hot girl summer, man. You know, you spend when your sexual market of value is at its highest peak. You're not securing the right man. That's when you're supposed to secure your man, is when your sexual marketplace is at its highest peak. When you get a career, and let's say you work from in your 20s into your 30s, and then you say, okay, well, now I'm gonna go get a man. Mm-hmm. It doesn't work like that, because the man who you're going to try to get, he's going to go for a woman who you were 20 years ago. You know what I mean? Because if you're 30, I mean, if you're 35 with a career, that don't mean nothing to me. I'm gonna take the woman who's 25 and who, you know, that can be molded. Mm-hmm. That can be basically molded to get on my program.
So that is
or any man's program.
So you think that is the reason why a lot of older women are dating younger women?
You mean older men are dating younger women?
Yes, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's basically what it is. And that's why I see so many of these women who are 30 plus with careers and they're single, because any man who respects himself is not going to want to put himself in a situation where he's going to have to come home and have his wife or girlfriend talking down to him, you know what I mean, just because, you know, she makes more money than him or whatever, because that's just not the natural rules. And as men, we want that respect.
Right.
That respect is required.
Right.
And if we're not giving that respect, then hey, man, you're gonna be alone. And the proof is in the pudding. That's why so many women who are 35 plus single, I'm just waiting for Mr. Right. You passed on Mr. Right when you was in college. You passed on Mr. Right because Mr. Right was considered corny, and he wasn't hood enough. He wasn't good enough, you know, however you want to call it. So, I mean, it's just crazy, man, and that's the reality of the situation. Yeah. That's just the reality, and that's the reason why a lot of women are single.
Unfortunately, and then they stay single, and then they don't have a choice but to say, I want to be single. I am happy being single. I cannot, unless you had some bad experiences with a man, I cannot imagine that a woman is content being without a man. It starts with food shopping. I don't feel like carrying all that crap. It starts with feeling of being safe. You know, I feel so much more safer when you are around, you know. Right now we are apart from one another. You're in the States, I'm in Germany, but I feel so much more safe when you're here, you know. And even just having a man by your side. You can't, none of your girlfriends, I don't care how much of a good friend they are never going to replace that man, that energy.
They're not.
I mean, I even like it when you sometimes put me in my place. You know what I mean? When you're like, listen, do this, do that. You draw right now. You know what I mean? Even that is necessary. I like that because you bring me back to my senses. You know, when I'm emotional, when I'm just out of nowhere trying to fight or whatever, you know, just doing me. Sometimes that's what we women do. I'm just going to be honest. You're like, look, listen, I'm not messing with you right now. I'm going to call you back once you calm down.
Mm-hmm.
We need men in our lives. I don't care what nobody
Most
says.
definitely.
Absolutely.
Yes, most definitely.
Let me see. Here's another question. What does it say? Can you be a regular or average guy from the States and still get the same great treatment overseas? Or do you have to be successful in order to get the submissiveness? No. I think this is regarding my post where I was talking about how much attention American men get over here in Germany. You can just be average. You don't have to be a millionaire. You don't have to be an NBA star. You don't have to be a celebrity. Everything that I have experienced, or me and my friends back in the day, the early 2000s, when we was out clubbing and stuff like that, all of those guys were regulars. And they got all the attention that they would never receive in the States. And when you look through the comments, a lot of people are all actually confirming this. So, yeah.
I know.
So, even you get a lot of attention, you know?
Yeah.
So, it is what it is. Okay.
And it's a different energy. It's like in Europe. It's a different energy that you get from a female. It's like, okay, you know, it's like if a woman, let's say if a woman in the States, she looks at you, be like, okay, he's nice looking. But I would get the feeling like, okay, you're nice looking and everything, but you're still going to have to chase me. I'm still better than you. As in Europe, it's like, hey, you know, I like you, and it's just all smiles. And
let's have a coffee. How are you?
It's totally different. The vibe, the energy is totally different. Right? Yeah, I know that for sure.
That is most definitely true. So I know you told me about an incident a couple of days ago where you were trying to enter a public restroom and some female was coming out of it, and you said, "Excuse me," and all she did was roll her eyes at you.
Yeah.
Why do you think that happens? I mean, you didn't bump into her, you didn't hurt her, you didn't cut her off, you know? And what is up with the eye rolling? I know that's very popular.
Well, unfortunately, it's certain women have been convinced that they are better than their own man. Mm-hmm. That's where that comes from. You have been convinced that you're better than your man. So therefore, if I just walk into a Walmart and I have a question, like, look, I just have a question and I'm asking an employee. Mm-hmm. She look at me like with the devil eyes, like if looks to kill, I will be dead. It's like I violated just by asking a question. Looking at me in straight disgust. I didn't even do anything. Why are you looking at me like this? You know what I mean? Like, where's this energy coming from? You know what I mean? So that right there is a big problem. Because if I just come up and talk to you, and then you immediately on the defensive and have an attitude, then of course we're going to bump heads. Right. I mean, if the man, you know, if he's emotional and he gets all into emotions and he wants to, you know what I mean, be starting things or whatever. But for the most part, you just have to let people be people. And it's just a shame. It's just a shame that, you know, I can just have a simple question. I'm looked at and discussed. I mean, I was telling this one girl, like, look, you left your headlights on. She turned around as if I just called her name or something like that. You know what I mean? It's that automatically being disgusted by my presence. Who the hell are you to be disgusted by my presence?
I know. I don't even understand. I mean,
you're a human being. You're a human being just like me. You take bowel movements just like me.
Your shit stinks too.
You have gas just like me. You know what I mean?
No.
So
us women, we don't fart. No.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's the automatic being disgusted by your presence, and like that right there is it's destructive. It's counterproductive.
And you're not even an ignorant dude, you know. I'm not saying that because of my husband. You are polite, you're outgoing, considerate, you know, especially when you don't know the person. And you go to the Walmart and you ask an employee for some advice. That's what she's getting paid for. Like, what is the attitude for? I don't even understand. I don't understand. Like, if you don't like that job or if you don't want to be talked to, you're going to have to go work somewhere where there are no people. And speaking of getting talked to, when women go out, we know, especially in the States, that they love being dressed and barely nothing. I think if women could go naked, they would go naked. But when a man talks to them, they feel offended. What kind of like that? Like, you got your boobs out, you got your butt out, you know, you're looking kind of seductive to everyone. You're acting all, you know, crazy. And then when a man speaks to you, because men are visual creatures, you get mad.
Okay, well, that comes back to nature. Nature has programmed the man to be visual creatures. We are visual creatures. We can't help it. From the moment the sperm pierced the egg and it's decided it's a XY chromosome, it starts there. It's installed to us by nature. We're visual creatures. We're way more visual than women. You see, if a man looks at woman's flesh, he's getting aroused. You know what I mean? That's just who we are. We can't help it. We're not dogs. We're not all the stuff that they told us to be, because basically, from my experience, from the research that I've done, men's sexuality has been shamed. What's been installed to us by nature has been shamed. It's been looked down upon. You know what I mean? Which is completely unfair. But if a woman, like, it's not the same when a woman looks at a man's chest. I mean, of course, I'm not saying she doesn't like what she see, but it's a different level of excitement when it comes to a man, because that's what nature has installed into it. We can't help it. So if you're walking down the street and you have a piece of bloody meat hanging from your back, and then a lion is walking past you, you're going to expect him not to take a bite of that piece of meat? It's ridiculous. It's totally ridiculous. I mean, if you're going to dress provocative, you're going to have men who are going to look at you, who are going to approach you. So you have to basically be prepared for what's coming. You got to be prepared for what's coming, because you're setting yourself up for it.
That's true. Absolutely. Here's another question. Outside of physical attraction, are fur women family oriented? Do they value having children? From his experience. Okay, did you understand that question? Did you hear it?
Yeah, do foreign women value having families? From my experience, well, I would have to say yes, in a way, and it really depends on what country you're talking about. Like in Europe, I would say yes, more so than the States, but especially if you go further to the east, let's say in the Middle East or Southeast Asia, things like that, then those women, they most definitely value family and everything. That like treating the man right and having a family is above everything else, man, because they understand that is their role within a human experience. So yes, I would have to say yes. And the only reason why is somewhat, you know, the European women do it a little better, but they're still westernized like American women.
Right,
know what I mean?
Of course.
Yeah, it's still, you know, being westernized. So, but no, it's overall a better experience.
I had one more question written down that somebody asked. What advice can you give to young men when they are the nice guy and dating, who have a hard time dating? Let's say you're a nice guy, and we know how women treat nice guys. They don't really want to deal with them because they all want to have this bad guy or whatever. What kind of advice would you give to them? Would you tell them stay true to yourself? Or would you be like, you know, try to be the bad guy?
Go find a woman who's going to accept you for who you are and don't change who you are. You know, who you are is who you are. I'm a nice guy.
Absolutely.
I'm not ratchet. Who you are is who you are. And that's why me and you get along so good, because I can be myself.
Yeah. I mean, I remember when we first met, we didn't do nothing crazy. We played Uno, for Christ's sake. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You played Uno, and to me, that was like the most exciting thing ever, because, you know, I was playing Uno with the man of my dreams. I'm like, oh my God, what card do I pick? What is Uno? I have no idea, because I couldn't even concentrate. You know what I mean? And I still had to act like I didn't like what I see, but that's a different story. So
you see, you just hit the nail on the head right there. You said man of your dreams. Now you have a pretty woman like you considering me to be the man of your dreams, but yet you have other women saying like, well, I'm better than him because, you know, I have a vagina. He has an Audi, I have an innie, so that makes me better than him.
No, that's totally delusional.
That's totally delusional.
Those women know that you are attractive, or even other attractive men that they're attractive. but they don't want to admit that. You know, when I see somebody that's attractive or good looking, I give it to them. I tell them that. You know what I mean? So why not admit it? What's wrong with that? I know I'm not the prettiest person on this planet. I know there are a lot of other women who look better, who have a better body. So just, you know, what's wrong with that? Let's not be a hater. So I don't even understand why women would feel like that. Like, if you look good, you look good, and that's that. Simple as that. Yeah. So there was another question. Hold on. Where is this? Where is it? Okay, last question. Would you recommend to American men to try to find a woman outside of the U.S. once they feel like there is no hope on the American dating market?
I would say, I wouldn't necessarily say Europe. I would say worldwide. You should see how valuable you are worldwide, and then make your decision from there if your situation allows you to travel. If your situation allows you to travel, then explore your options worldwide. Find out what your SMV is worldwide, because you're not going to get a true measurement of your SMV here in the States. It's just not going to happen. It's just, I mean, it's just not going to happen.
Because women feel like they're better than men.
They feel like, I mean, yes, they feel like they're better. They feel like they're doing you a favor. I'm doing you a favor.
Right. That's why they are so entitled. They expect the man to pay for everything. And that's another thing that I didn't really understand when we started, you know, going on dates or getting to know each other. Like, it was such a normal thing for me to pay. Or even when you visited Germany, you know, why would you want to pay? I'm trying to impress you. You know what I mean? I'm trying to be the number one on your list. Like, I'm trying to be the one that you're going to call and that you're thinking about all the time. So I got to compete with all those other women. That's why I was, you know, like, okay, I got to do whatever I got to do to impress this man because I want this man. And you know what I mean? And that's why I behave the way I behave. So, but a lot of women, especially in the States, they don't feel that way. And they don't behave that way. That's why they are so entitled and they expect you to pay for everything. Chase them, compete.
And chasing a woman is something no man should don't ever chase a woman. Don't ever. Why? Well, why not? Well, let's just say if you're going to chase her, then you're automatically putting her on a pedestal. She's saying, okay, she's going to see you as being beneath her. He has to chase me. He's beneath me. No, don't ever chase a woman. You don't want to ever give her that impression that she's even worth being chased, because if I have to chase you, then what about the guys who don't have to chase you? That's basically because women are always going to have the men who they pursue. You have the men who the women pursue, and then the man who's going to chase her. And the man who's going to chase her is always in a basically the subservient position, the subordinate position, the lesser position, the lower position. They're always in that position because you're chasing her, putting her on a pedestal. Never chase a woman. Never ever chase a woman. No. It has to be even. I reach out to you, you reach out to me. You scratch my back, I scratch yours. If it's not like that, hell no. Because here's the thing about it, which is disturbing. If you're average, and a man is above average in looks, why in the hell should he chase you?
That's true. Because all the songs and television and the system and the programming has told me as a woman that I need to be chased, and you know, but that's really, I mean, even if you ask a woman, why do you feel as though that a man should chase you, she really doesn't have any valid arguments. Because I look good, because I have a JJ, you know what I mean? That's not a valid argument. Every woman has one. So what makes yours better? And what do you bring to the table? So yeah, it's very delusional. It's absolutely delusional, if you ask me. Do you feel as though that a man in a relationship, or not even in a relationship, they started dating, let's say, is supposed to tell the woman all the time how good she looks, that she's the only one, make her feel special, give her gifts all the time? Do you think that's necessary?
No, not necessary.
To keep the woman happy?
No, not necessarily. The woman is in charge of keeping herself happy.
Absolutely. Because I don't ever see a man telling a woman that you don't make me happy anymore. It's always the woman doing that.
It's always the woman. Yeah, yeah.
I was wondering, why is that? And a lot of women are talking about, I'm so happy with myself, but yet they put in they depend on so many external factors in order to have their inner happiness,
Yeah.
So that's another thing that, in my opinion, women are most definitely hypocritical about. Yeah. And a lot of people are always saying that today's relationship, they crumble because the woman and the man, they have trauma. But when I think back of our ancestors, they had it a lot more harder than us. They had to go through war. They had to go through racism and all of that. They experienced trauma, and they still made it work because they knew at the end of the day, the strength of a family unit is so much more important than being apart, which actually weakens their family and their community. So I'm like, what are today's people talking about when they're talking about, I have unprocessed trauma? A lot of things and a lot of reasons that we have a depression for is created by ourselves because of the messed up thoughts that we have, wanting to have things that we don't have, but that others have. You know what I mean? Why would I make you responsible for my happiness? That's why I think that you and I, we really don't need much as far as like material and all these external factors to say that we are happy with one another. I never needed that. That's why everything that we even experienced, even the dates and everything, it was simple. Why? The important thing was you and I, the energy, the conversations, the experience that we created. So I didn't need all of these 5-star restaurants, these expensive shopping sprees. Never. In fact, when you wanted to buy me something, I'm like, no, not necessary. I don't want it. Keep your money, please. You know what I mean? That's also a different vibe that you would get compared to what you were experiencing in the States. And that's just honest to God truth.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah. Still happy about those experiences. Let me see if there are any more questions, because there are people commenting. And I don't want to feel like, I don't want nobody asking. Okay. Good. I think we answered all the questions so far.
Okay.
I don't know if somebody wants to attend the live. I'm going to press the button. I don't know what's going to happen. Let me see.
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
Don't do that?
Nope.
It's going to...
Because you don't know what you're clicking onto.
No, I know what it is. Okay. If there's any, if there's any advice that you can give men, young men who are still trying to find themselves, because obviously you are 43 years old now, and a lot of young men are out there trying to find love, trying to, find a woman. What could you recommend to them?
Focus on building yourself as a man. Focus on accomplishing your goals. Make sure your purpose is your number one priority in life. You bettering yourself as a man, becoming the man who you need to be before you go out there and you decide to get a wife, girlfriend, or, whatever. Become the man who you need to be. Become a respectable, good, logical man who can make decisions, who can lead a woman. Then you want to go out there and you want to go find a woman, because you want to be in the best position to get the best woman possible. And therefore you have to make yourself as valuable as possible. And that's building yourself as a man. And as men, I would say from 25 all the way till 45 is the window we have to build ourselves in order to, get a good woman.
Right.
So basically, man, we have a long time. We can turn our lives around in 1 year and find a woman to get on our program. So I would say my advice to young guys is that don't put your purpose first. Building yourself, mentally, physically, emotionally, financially last, because, your money is not everything. Build yourself up. Become the man who you need to be. Establish yourself. Make that priority number one. And
so
don't make...
you're saying it's never too late. You're saying it's never too late to make those changes.
No. Especially for men. No, it's never too late for us to make those changes. No.
I mean, you said from 20 to 45. That's a pretty big time window. If you could say.
Yeah. I would say from 25 to 45.
25.
They have a lot of time to build yourself.
We don't have that much time.
Y'all have that.
We don't have that much
and
time. That's
no,
why
y'all
it's
don't
so
have
much
that time.
more important for us to actually do certain things at a certain age. You know, like you said, get married at a certain age. Don't wait too long. Don't focus on your career too long, because once you end up when you're 35 years up, the man is going to want to take the younger woman, because you're not going to be able to have babies at some point in your life. That man's going to want to, you know, create a family. So yes, our timeline is not that long. We got to move quick because time be ticking.
Unfortunately, I mean, I'm not going to say unfortunately, but the way nature has intended it is that time favors the man. Time favors the man. It doesn't favor the woman, because once your looks go down, your options go down.
Yeah, I know. Once you hit the wall, that's it.
Once you hit that wall, you hit the motherfucking wall.
Don't say that.
Okay. No, I'm sorry for cursing.
That's okay. Yeah, we can tell that you don't be on social media like that.
No, I'm still a newbie.
I know, you absolutely are with your 3 posts.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
I live in the real world, man. You know, I live my life in the real world offline. I grew up in the 90s, early 2000s. I know a time without social media. And yeah, I don't live my life by social media. I live my life in the real world.
Yeah. Somebody's asking, what part of Germany do you guys live in? It will be West Germany. West Germany, most definitely. It's the place to be. So if you really want to visit Germany, you make sure you pick West Germany, because East Germany still has a few issues from back in the day, so you don't want to go there. Even though I know that Berlin is very nice. I've been there before, but if you want to have that experience that I was talking about in one of my posts, you most definitely want to go to West Germany. What is this guy saying? I've been tired of Black women for years. I used to always wonder who raised them and who they hung around with. I don't know. Today.
Well, my answer to that question is it's the matriarchy.
Yeah, what you have explained earlier.
Yeah, it's the matriarchy, because the matriarchy has basically ill-prepared me to deal with women. A woman is not going to teach a man how to deal with women. This is not going to happen.
That's probably where the term, "oh, you have to treat her like a queen" comes from.
Yeah.
Because no man would treat his son or tell his son, you have to treat a woman like a queen at all times.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes I look around and I see women who consider themselves being queens, and I'm just like, girl, you gotta put on some clothes first.
Yeah.
So yeah. West Germany it is, West Side. Yep.
The West Side.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess if nobody has any more questions, I would just say thank you so much for your time. Is there
no doubt, no problem.
Is there anything else that you would like to say?
Yes, there is something I would like to say. For young men who's ever listening, separate yourself from the matriarchy. Get out of there. It's not going to do you any good, because you cannot build yourself into the masculine figure while being raised in a matriarchal society. It's an imbalance. It's like hot air coming into clash with cold air, creating a tornado. It's just not going to happen. Remove yourself from the matriarchy, because I'm going to say this again, from in my community, which is a matriarchal structure, and it's disastrous. Remove yourself from the matriarchy. You know what I mean? That's priority number one. Do it.
How is that person supposed to remove themselves from the matriarchy?
Find out what the matriarchy is, if you know what I'm talking about, and do whatever you have to do to remove yourself from that and get out of that mindset. Get out of that mindset. You know what I mean? Because you have to go where you're appreciated and respected. And a matriarchal society is not going to respect masculinity, because the two are opposed. It's not going to happen. You know what I mean? This is not going to happen. And I'm gonna paraphrase, one of somebody who I listen to on YouTube. It's a hyena type of situation, because if you look at how hyenas operate, it's a matriarchal type of structure. The woman hyena runs everything. The man is the male hyena is always at the lowest. Is always on the lowest.
I know they always look stressed out. Like our neighbor, they always look stressed the hell out, and she's the one screaming around all the time.
Man, no, look. when it comes to hyenas, male hyenas got it the worst. They got it the worst. Look up the structure of hyenas and how they live, and then you will understand. I'm gonna say it again. What's going on in my community, and then it all makes sense. The male hyena lives a life of fucking hell because he's in an unnatural situation. I mean, you can look it up. Just go National Geographic, read books on the internet. He lives a life of hell, man, because it's unnatural.
Right.
Because in every other species on this planet, the male leads. Lions, however you want to say it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And and you have a few other situations as far as insects and arachnia, you know, that's kind of getting out there. But whenever the woman is bigger than their male counterpart, it's always disasters for the male. Always. A female spider eats the male.
I know.
It's disastrous.
That's terrible.
It's disastrous, man. I know. Bites his head off. I mean, it's not cool, man. And since human beings, you know, we're not built like that. Human beings is, you know, the male is supposed to be in a leadership position. So when a man is not in a leadership position, you get disastrous results.
I hear that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that person.
Yeah.
Makes a whole lot of sense. Even visually, you know, me visualizing what a male hyena actually looks like.
Oh my God. It's bad.
Ugly, stressed out, their fur
bad.
be all over the place, their teeth be all messed out, their eyes be popping. So yeah, I really feel bad for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what else do we have? Yeah, these are all comments. Okay, he is saying, I just want to say thank you, brother. However, the Eagles suck. He doesn't even like the Eagles. He's not into football.
No, I'm not into sports, man. I left sports alone a long time ago. I watch it, but it's not the focus of my attention. You know, sports is way in the background. You know,
yeah, the only time that I would see you dealing with a football game would be on, what was it, Madden, PlayStation.
Yeah, PlayStation, things like that.
That's the only time.
Yeah.
Well, okay, I guess thank you for your time once again. Thank you for answering all the questions. I hope I was able to actually, you know, ask you everything that I received in my inbox. And thank you for everyone watching. Thank you for all of the questions and for your time. And we're most definitely going to go live once again. Yes, blow him a kiss, right? I will blow him a kiss. All right. Okay. I guess I'll talk to you later. Everybody else, take care. Be safe. And make sure everybody drinks enough water.
Yeah. Get your passport, fellas. Get your passport.
Get your passport. Yes. Get your passport, everybody. Go where you are appreciated.
It's a big world out there.
Most definitely. It's not just America.
No,
it's not just America. That's true. Yeah. Okay, sweetheart. I guess we'll talk later. Everyone take care.
Yeah, thanks everybody. Y'all take it easy.
Okay. Let me publish this live and not delete it again.
Okay.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.